There's a feature in 10.09 Continuum and Osmose firmware that if you go into the editor and the split menus, you'll see a bunch of options for what's called combination presets. This allows you to take a 3x or greater DSP instrument, of which the Osmose is one, and layer presets, create combinations of 2 or 3 presets that can be played at the same time. Now, this feature was never intended for the Osmose, and it really doesn't work that well on it. And it turns out that there's some issues with this feature in general, and it's going to be removed from the firmware for all instruments. So then the question comes up, okay, how do you layer presets of the same type, EaganMatrix presets, on an Osmose, or a Continuum for that matter? The prescribed method to do that is to purchase one or more EaganMatrix modules and use those in conjunction with your Osmose or Continuum to layer EaganMatrix presets as you so desire. How would that be done? Well, you either have an older Continuum, but we're going to concentrate on the Osmose in this case. And what you do is you get yourself an EaganMatrix module. This is a Eurorack module. The simplest thing you can do if you just want this as a standalone processor that you can control through MIDI from your Osmose to layer presets is to buy a 4MS pod. They have a 26 HP Eurorack pod where you can fit the 22 HP EaganMatrix module in there, and then you can buy a 4 HP blank or a couple 2 HP blanks, or put another 4 HP card in there if you have one that's useful. This is how you use this in a standalone mode. Of course, you can put the EaganMatrix module in a bigger Eurorack case and add all different other kinds of modules to the mix as well. We'll have an example of that later. But this is the simplest case where you connect your MIDI out of the Osmose to MIDI in of the EaganMatrix module, DIN out of the Osmose to TRS MIDI in of the EaganMatrix module with a DIN to TRS adapter, and then you'll mix the audio outputs of the EaganMatrix module with the Osmose in some fashion with a mixer or an audio interface, whatever you desire. And in this way, you can then set up the system with some software that will easily allow you to switch presets in and out to layer things. Up top here, we have an example of what this looks like if you just buy the 4MS pod with the EaganMatrix module installed with a blank. Here it's connected to a Continuum. This, by the way, is the prescribed method of updating an older Continuum to the newer 2x DSP and greater devices. EaganMatrix module is a 2x DSP device that allows you to play up to 8 voice MPE polyphony. So that's the only limitation we have to think about when we set up our MPE. We want to make sure we're not sending more than 8 voices. We'll also talk about some ways to easily use software interfaces to switch things in and out. The best one is this new VCV-Rack HC1 plugin by Paul Dempsey. It's still in beta right now, but it's a great tool that will allow you to bring up multiple devices, an Osmose, a Continuum, a couple of EaganMatrix modules, and switch presets in and out, system presets or user presets, and this allows you to create favorites as well. So it's a great tool. When it's finally out of beta, I think everyone's going to want a copy of it. The VCV-Rack utility is free for the interface that we use here. That's one possibility that allows you to directly connect the two. Now, I suggest if you want to make it a little easier for yourself, you put some kind of a MIDI switch in the middle where you can easily and manually switch your EaganMatrix module in and out if you don't want that always being layered. Another way to simulate this is to create an empty preset and set that as one of your user presets. And if you set that as one of the presets for your layering, it will basically play nothing and act like you're switching things in and out. So that's a simple setup. Now, how do you set this up on your Osmose? we're going to want to play this as the external MPE MIDI mode device. We don't want to play it through the internal sound engine because the octave buttons don't send octave through the MIDI interface. So to get the full Osmose functionality, set yourself up as external MIDI. Your Osmose will still play in external MIDI mode based on the preset that you have set. Then in your MPE setup on the Osmose, you'll go in and you'll make sure that your N channel is 9 because we don't want to go past 8 channel output. Since MPE starts at channel 2, that means the max channels that you can send the EaganMatrix module. Same thing for the ContinuuMini. By the way, you could set this up in a similar fashion. The max channels supported on both are 8 channels. Then you just want to go in and make sure that your pressure is set to channel pressure for MPE output and that your aftertouch is set to CC74. The EaganMatrix module can load up both Continuum presets and Osmose presets, and they play fine from the Osmose. One of the nice things about using the EaganMatrix module is that it will take your Y aftertouch data and use it correctly because the EaganMatrix module has no fingerboard where you have to worry about where Y is from front to back. So presets are 100% compatible if you load them on the EaganMatrix module and play them on the Osmose. So now you have an extra 300-400 presets available to you that you can bring over from the Continuum and layer those with Osmose presets or layer 2 Osmose presets if you want as well. Now the easiest way to use this is to set up 16 user presets on your Osmose that you're going to want to layer, and then set up 16 user presets on your EaganMatrix module. And again, those can be a combination of Continuum presets and Osmose presets. Then you'll want to download the VCV rack utility, and that will, when you bring up instances of it, connect them to the Osmose, and there's a little icon at the bottom where you can select to connect to the EaganMatrix module. And the great thing about this is that it has separate processes to handle each, so you can run them both independently on the same screen, selecting presets, system presets, user presets, or favorites dynamically on the fly as you go. If you're running on Windows and you bring up the editor, you can only run one instance of the editor. So to switch back and forth between EaganMatrix module, you have to go in. Here I'm running the Osmose to the MIDI and global settings. You can see I'm running the Osmose now. I can go in there, select EaganMatrix module. The Osmose will disconnect, and now it'll try and connect the EaganMatrix module. And there you go. That now is available for you to select presets on. This is not a very convenient way to dynamically select presets. Much better option, once you have things set up as you want them, get out of the editor, and now I can right-click, select a module. Here I can see it's loading my MIDI 2 in, loading my Osmose. So it'll try and load the Osmose user presets, system presets. I can right-click, select another module, go down here and select EaganMatrix module and load the presets in for that. Now they're both trying to load. Their system presets load on the Osmose. Now it's preparing to load everything else. The EaganMatrix module is loading as well. Now I can blow this up a bit and I can select, let's say I want to map choir on the Osmose with the Cumulus on the EaganMatrix module, and boom, there it is. I can easily switch and layer presets in this fashion. This will be available soon in its full implementation. What I would do is go to the Facebook user Osmose page where Paul announces releases of this regularly, or you can go to the new Discord Expressive E page, and I know Paul makes announcements here as well. Now let's try a more complicated setup. I have two EaganMatrix modules that I've connected to my AB switch, so I can switch either of them or both of them or none of them into the mix. Now with the Osmose, what I did with that was connect it to a Eurorack input card, and that I've got connected to an audio switch that I have foot control on, so when I press my pedal down, the Osmose sound will disappear as well. This will allow me to create any mix of all of the instruments together that I want. I throw things into a mixer and I send the output of the mixer into a Hyperion synthesis technology E520 effects processor, and the output of that I send into a Cosmos drifting memory station so I can create these evolving loops in the background, and that is then sent out to my mixer. So now I can do a lot of nice pad-like evolving stuff, and I don't have to bring the Cosmos in. I can switch that on as I want. And the great thing about the Cosmos is I can set up these loops and then set it so that I can play on top of the loops, not just have everything always loop together. Well, let's play around with this. I've also set up my HC1 so that I can change presets in and out at will from all of the instruments that I have connected here.